your world has just changed. In fact, the world has changed. But I'm gonna go one step further. The world is changing and history is being made right now. But history changing never feels historic when you're sitting in it. It just feels like another day. I'll give you a context for that. When Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was involved in the civil rights movement, that was 13 years of his work. He lived in the city I live in now, Atlanta, Georgia. He went to parent-teacher night. He went to the grocery store. He went to boring staff meetings. He listened to uninspiring speakers, as you're listening to me now. Not every day was I have a dream. In fact, most days were not. In fact, he gave that speech 100 times before the March on Washington. That same speech. And it could be argued, this would be another presentation to another time, but it's an interesting mind twister. What would have happened, just on tenacity and persistence sake of knowledge, what would have happened if he had given up the 88th time? Or the 99th time? The world would be fundamentally different. But is that my core argument to you today? No, it's not. My core argument today is the world has changed and your world has changed, and it has changed radically and fundamentally. And if at the end of my presentation I haven't convinced you of that, then it was a waste of my time to be here and it was a waste of your time to listen to me. I talked to the administrator, who I think is a very good man, last week, and Alex Amparo of FEMA earlier today, and I'm proud to say, and Karen, who is here, I believe, somewhere, they get it. But I'm not sure most people do. And let me speak to this personally about how I didn't get it, then I'm gonna speak to how things have fundamentally changed for you. So I run the largest financial inclusion organization in the country, you heard that. Operation Hope, founded it after the Rodney King riots in 1992 in Los Angeles. $3.5 billion, sorry, 3 million clients and $2.5 billion invested in underserved neighborhoods. Not bad numbers, but it's all a shame and it's underwhelming. And I'll get to that in a moment, but I'm not anywhere close to the need. 30,000 volunteers, et cetera. And I thought I was doing something until about 5 years ago, when Janae Roscoe took me to a museum, Ford Theater, where there's a museum inside of the theater where Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. And with regard to black poverty, I've been trying to figure this out for a long time. All poverty is the same, but when white folks have a headache, black folks have pneumonia. By the way, it's okay to laugh. You won't get sued. Take life seriously, don't take yourself too seriously. So there'll be some humor dispersed in my comments. It's okay to laugh. I'll tell you when to laugh if you miss the mark. And I've been trying to figure this out, and I did figure it out, but I figured it out because of Janae Roscoe in this museum. And basically what I discovered was that all of our problems are tied to one thing, just one thing. 1865, March 3rd, President Abraham Lincoln, after the Civil War, after the Emancipation Proclamation, arguably the most progressive, most amazing president we've ever had in the history of this country. 2 months after he sent Secretary of War Stanton and General Sherman out to Savannah, Georgia to meet with 20 ministers, former slaves, and said, what do you want after slavery? I don't have a lot of time, so I'm gonna give you the short version of a lot of this so we can cover a lot of ground. Is that okay? I trust you guys are all smart, so you'll keep up with me, and what I miss, you'll do some research on. So I'm gonna give you the topical stuff, and then I'm gonna get into the weeds on things that I think are really important to you. So this is really fast. Secretary of War Stanton, General Sherman, January 1865, Savannah, Georgia. What do you want? Do we want a welfare program? No. Do you want an apology? That'd be nice, but no. This is for slavery. What do you want? We want land. We want to do for our, see, that wasn't a black answer, that wasn't a Latino answer, that wasn't an Asian answer, it wasn't an Indian answer. It's an American answer, it's a human answer. It's the answer of people who long for aspiration all over the world.